Here's how you interact with the 3D content. The left mouse button rotates the view. The right mouse button pans the view. The middle mouse button lets you zoom in and out. And these controls are the same using the touchpad and a laptop if that's what you're using. But one way we've made it easier to zoom is to hold down the control key and then left click and drag. The arrow keys on the keyboard will also rotate the content, which mimics the left mouse button. The W, A, S and B keys pan the content, which mimics the right mouse button. You can interact with the content by left clicking on an object of interest. You get more information about it here. To deselect, you can left click anywhere on a plain bit of canvas. When you've got an object highlighted, the H key will hide it. See, it's disappeared here from the item panel. And when you have an object highlighted and you press the I key on your keyboard, it will isolate just that object. The buttons up here let you do a similar thing but with all the objects in the scene. And you'll notice that when an object is highlighted, there's also a hide and isolate button here, which perform the same functions as the keys on the keyboard. So in terms of the icons that you have here on the bottom left and bottom right, this is the main menu where you will find the rest of the 3D content. So you can click through here to see the different scenes that are available and select those. Here is the project settings. Here we'll copy a link to your clipboard that lets you share this content directly with other people that are members. The message icon will provide an easy way for you to send us feedback. And here is a help icon which brings up a pop-up that lets you watch this video again and also refreshes you as to the keys that you can use to interact with the content. This icon and these icons relate to the scene rather than the project. And here's a full screen button, so it takes you out of full screen or into full screen. When your camera view is off, you can reset it using the reset camera button. The camera here allows you to switch between a perspective, and this is an orthographic camera. The autofocus mode means that whenever you select a piece of anatomy, it becomes the camera's main focus. So it's easy to rotate around it. You can turn that off, and that mode goes away. And here we have the X-ray outline. So now at the moment, you're shown an outline of content even when it's hidden. So if we turn that off, you'll see that outline disappears and only becomes visible when we go to the other side of the object. So it's your choice whether you keep that enabled or not. And the show shell function, when enabled, means that when you hide objects, you still see their outline. So this lets you get an idea of where objects that are visible are with relation to hidden objects. Again, it's up to you whether you choose to use that. The search will let you search through the items that are present in the scene. And what we have here is an item panel where we can go and scroll through the objects that are present and select them if we wish. And what you can also do here is, at the moment, both the clinical and the Latin terms are shown. You can choose just to show one or the other as well. The test yourself mode lets you test yourself using automatically generated multiple choice questions, or a type of test where you select an object and you type in what you think the answer is. So here, for instance, we can type in biceps femoris and it tells us that indeed that's the correct answer. And the object is left green. Here we can type a obviously incorrect answer and it's telling us that that's incorrect and it's left red. If you think that there is a synonym or your answer that is correct and you click this button, we'll get an email and we can look into that to see if that indeed should be added to the database. If you'd like to check what the correct answers are, you can show the answers. That's the type yourself test. The other mode available is the MCQs. So here we have some parameters that we can configure, and I'll just use the default ones here. We can start a session, and what you can see is that we're shown some anatomy, and we have 3 possible correct answers, and we have to select from these which one we think is correct. Something you can do during this is to enable the shells too, so that helps you get some more context sometimes. So I'm going to guess the answer here. So that was incorrect. That was incorrect. So obviously it must be the semispinalis thoracis. And then we can go to the next question. And so on. You have the ability here to change the parameters, repeat the test, and repeat the failed questions as well. So I hope that is helpful. If you've got any questions or feedback, please use the feedback form here, and we will get back to you.